How are we doing? Right, today's little mission. On times Bulker Arctic on its side. So obviously as it's going up, load shifted, and yeah, she's fell over. So yeah.
So I lucked out really on this job. Now of all the drivers they could have sent, they sent Mary. And anybody that's ever worked with Mary, anybody that knows Mary, knows that she's a safe pair of hands, and she knows her stuff, she's committed.
Yep.
And the job's going to go well, you know? But once a bulker has fallen over onto its side, obviously it's lifted up, it's tried to tip, and its saucepans have fallen over. The first thing you need to do is actually retract it. So bring actually bulker, the body of it, actually down back onto the chassis. Now to do that you need to remove some of the hydraulic couplings, because obviously the hydraulic valves in there will stop that ram retracting and closing up. So you need to do that, drain the hydraulic oil, which I've already done. It's a messy job, horrible job, nobody wants to see that. But anyway, I've done that. So what you now need to do is actually retract it. So Mary's in position, she's going to use the winch and actually pull the body back onto the chassis, because although if you really had to, yes, you could right it, extended, but it's much easier if you bring the body back onto the chassis, close it up, and then roll it back onto its wheels. So we have put a 13mm chain onto the head, on where the pin is mounted onto the body. It's a strong point there, so you'll be laughing. It's fine. No issues there. Unfortunately, the chain we use is just a little bit short, which means if we attach the cable,
little strop,
we would be kinking the cable on that edge there, on that 45-degree angle. And no cable should be on the 45-degree angle. You're going to kink it, you can damage the cable, and these cables are seriously expensive, so we're going to use a soft strop.
You got an endless strop?
Chain, soft strop, everything in place. Now what we're going to do is start pulling on it. There you go. You can see here, winch cable being pulled in, and we can see the body starting to retract, that ram starting to retract, starting to close up, and actually come towards the chassis. There's a bit of movement there, the chassis moving, but that's okay, you know, that's acceptable. There's a humongous concrete block there that somebody's left, and for some reason no one was able to remove it, so we had to just work around it, but it worked in our favour on this occasion. So there you can see there, the body, the bulker, the bucket, call it what you want, is now skipping across, it's now closing up, that round's retracting, and it's all moving towards the chassis.
Skipping over?
Over the top of the T-edge.
So Mary noticed that there was starting to be a bit of twist as she was closing it up, as it was twisting. So there's a bit of tension there. There's a bit of force fighting us. That ram doesn't want to close all the way up. Maybe a bit of twist in the ram. It's a bit of tension there. So, and that was creating a bit of twist. So basically what's happening was that it was trying to roll over on its own. We were getting a bit too much twist than what we wanted, and it was sliding too much. So what we've done here, we've let the cable out a little bit, raised the underlift, and what we're going to do, we're going to push now. So hold it with the cable and actually push out with the underlift. So we're not just pulling, we are now pushing and pulling. So there we go. You can see that chassis there. The chassis is moving now, closing up nicely, and that is pretty much there now. You know what I mean? That's a substantial difference to when we first started. That is a big difference. That is pretty much good to go there. You can roll that on its wheels now quite happily.
Right, winch cable. Let it out.
Now what happened on this recovery is actually, as it went over it, the fifth wheel was actually ripped completely off of the unit that was underneath it. So the unit was actually able to drive away, but we're stuck now with a fifth wheel on the pin. Now the fifth wheel plate might as well be removed, because it's going to be in the way. Once we ride this trailer onto its wheels, that fifth wheel plate is then going to be in the way and it's going to be quite a pig to remove when it's actually on its wheel. So line it up now and remove it. Problem is, these fifth wheel plates are seriously heavy. They are. There's a big chunk of metal there, and there's too much tension on it. So as I'm pulling the pin to try and release it, it's just not happening. So what Mary's doing here is she's going to actually put her T-head up against it, lift it up, take the pressure off, so I can pull the pin, and we can actually drop this fifth wheel plate.
Lift up. There you go.
There you go. That's the pin pulled now. Get out of the way, because if that falls on the foot, it's going to absolutely crush it. And that was just satisfying. I don't know why, in all big jobs like this, there's always that one moment that is just utterly pure satisfying. I think it's the way it just fell down and it just stuck in the mud. In the mud? I mean, it's stuck in the mud upright. Just fell perfectly down and just stayed there. It was just satisfying. Right, fifth wheel removed. Fifth wheel plate removed. Now it's just time for Mary to pull forward in position to actually roll it over. We'll just lift this up, throw one strap underneath it, one to catch, and then it should be fairly straightforward.
I reckon if you back up and then go forward, nose it, literally touching the fence, might be just enough for him to roll it.
Get out.
There we are now, pretty much rigged. Like I said, we lifted the front up a little bit, got the strops underneath, and now we are here pretty much rigged, ready to go. One strop actually doing the roll, and one strop doing the catch. So, rigging wise, it's fairly easy, but like all big jobs, you know, there's a lot of tonnage. You know what I mean? That's a lot of metal there that you're manoeuvring about, so you do have to have your wits about you. I don't know why, maybe I'm a little bit old school, but I do prefer being on the levers, especially when it comes to these sort of jobs. I just feel that you can feel what the truck is doing. You can feel how it's manoeuvring. Okay, so there's a bit of an error on this one on my behalf. So I didn't have the boom up high enough. Well, not necessarily that the boom wasn't up high enough. The problem was that I was running out of cable. The strops were a little bit longer than I thought they were. So as I started to roll, you'll see in the video that, basically I've run out of cable, which means the hook is going to run into the fair lead. But fortunately, I never have the boom all the way up and extended all the way unless I absolutely have to. So which means if I do ever run out of cable and the hook is going to run into the fair lead, I just let the cable out slightly and lift the boom. Either lift the boom or extend the boom out, so that gives me more room to play. So that's what I did on this job. It's a little bit of juggling. You have to be slightly delicate when you're doing these sort of things, but you know what I mean, it gets you out of trouble. And that is one ton bulker trailer back on its wheels.